I'm trying to get on the move again. It's Shabbat morning. Probably a bad move, trying to get into Jerusalem on a Shabbat morning. Tried to catch a cab, and there was no cabs. Let me see if I can hitch a lift. Nope. Alright. Very few cars on the road. Nobody's stopping. It's Shabbat, so everybody's in a hurry. One guy stopped, but he wasn't going as far as I needed to go, and it just didn't seem to make sense to pile into his car and then get out and into another one. But yeah, nobody's stopping. And I really don't want to walk 4 kilometers to the trailhead, so I do have a plan B up my sleeve. If I can't get a ride soon, between hitching or trying to get a cab, then I'm just going to call my friend's contact, and I'm just going to stay another night and try again in the morning. At least tomorrow taxis will be running and buses will be running, so I should be able to get to the trailhead. But this is, once again, way too late in the morning, and if I can't get a ride, then that just makes it worse. So, oh well. Fortunately, I'm near Jerusalem, so we're high up and it's a little bit cooler up here, so I have a little bit of a grace period, but I think I'm already using that grace period up before I even get anywhere. So I don't know, we'll have to try and see what happens. Alright, finally caught a lift with a kindly older gentleman who was going to take me right into Sataf, but I told him I need to get to the Shvil, and he was driving anyways right by the junction where I needed to get to, so I just asked to be let off right there, and set me off with caution to be careful, and I see the Shvil marker, so that's where I'm headed, except I don't know how to get there. Okay, gotta figure this out. So much for it being cooler in Jerusalem. It's 8:30 in the morning, and it already promises to be the hottest day since I've been in the Jerusalem area. And so now I have to go down there and then climb up there, the other side. And it's 8:30, and I've just finally found the trailhead, and I've got some 15 kilometers to go today, and I just don't learn. Oh well. I had tried. I did hope to be at least on my way to the trail by 7 this morning, but what with my trouble getting out of bed in the morning, and then traffic on Shabbat being non-existent, and taxis being impossible to get a hold of. So here we are. Well, at least I've got all day to get there. And the other good thing is, once I get into Jerusalem, if worst comes to worst, I can always catch a lift or a taxi once I'm in Jerusalem. So I have an exit strategy, but this is not what I was planning. Oy vey, this is really not what I was planning. Alright, well, away we go. So while I make my way down this massive mountain, see, down there somewhere, of course the sun is shining straight into it so you can't see, but I'll tell you a little bit what I know about this mountain where I am, which is called Sataf, and it's a famous mountain in Jerusalem, or in Israel. There was a famous army platoon or brigade or whatever unit called Unit 101, which I think it was it Ariel Sharon, or no, somebody, I don't know, Ariel Sharon or Benjamin Bibi no. Okay, I'll have to figure this out. I'll find it out and I'll let you know, but one of these famous Israeli politicians, long before he was a politician, he established an army unit that practiced up here, called Unit 101. And the other thing that this is famous for is, sorry, I have to watch my step very closely because I don't want to fall down that. There's been continuous, for hundreds of years, there was continuous agriculture and settlement on this mountain. And they used these traditional methods from the biblical era, and then it got interrupted by, for some reason, I think it was the War of Independence, that basically sent everybody away from here. And so in the 1980s, somebody started recreating the biblical era agricultural methods. So they have this whole like agricultural system and village here that you can go, and you can see how they grew their agricultural products and crops on the sides of the hills in these terraced plots back in the day, and how they managed to maximize the use of water, limited water. And you can't see it here because this is just a rocky hillside. I assume the agricultural recreation is probably on the other side of the hill or somewhere. Can't see it from here, but anyway, so this is a very interesting place to visit for historical reasons and agricultural reasons and everything. So wish I had more time, but the Shvil is just taking all my time, so I can't really stop and see any of these interesting things that are along the way. But maybe someday. So down there you can see some old construction. I don't know from what era. And I think those might be actually some of the reconstruction terraces. Although I don't think that's the main event. I think there's more somewhere else and a better view somewhere else. But at least that gives you an idea. And you can see up the hillside, you can see the old terraces. I don't think these are in use, but that shows you kind of an idea of how they terraced the hillside and created additional farmland. Okay, I just came down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stairs. And the problem with Jerusalem is that when you're trying to get to Jerusalem, what goes down must go up. And I'm headed around the corner fairly flat here, so I'm trying to make as much time as I can right now. But I think that mountain over there is where I'm trying to get to, or on the other side of it actually is Jerusalem. Another mountain, so I don't know how many mountains I have to climb today, so gotta move while I can. But at the bottom of those hundreds and hundreds of stairs, I ran into this guy. The strangest thing, actually, wasn't that strange, I suppose, but Israeli men. Oh my goodness. Yeah, somebody said they're very flirty. That's for sure. I think I understood most of that conversation. There were some things he said that I really didn't understand, although I probably got the gist. The rest of it, most of it I understood, and it was very strange. Yeah. Anyways, so there you can see, again, more of those terraced agricultural plots, which these ones I don't think are in use. But have been in ancient times, or even not so ancient times. So I turned a corner, and I don't know how well you can see it because of the sun, but that, I believe, is the Hadassah Medical Center, which I need to go by to get to Jerusalem. But this is so wild. You have like ancient agricultural lands right behind me, and then right in front of me, one of the most modern medical centers in the world. Pretty strange place to be. Another dry riverbed. Like I said, this country can use all the rain it can get. So there was something about passing by a monastery. That, somewhere up there, looks like a monastery to me. I hope I don't have to go up there, but knowing that I'm going up to Jerusalem, I probably do. So this is what I've been looking for all morning. This is the glaze, or the trail marker for the Jerusalem Trail. You can see all sort of the suburbs around Jerusalem and the Hadassah Medical Center behind me. So there you see the Shvil marker. And let me show you something that I haven't actually talked about before, but the Shvil markers, you can see here the orange part is a little bit higher. It starts higher and it ends higher than the other parts, the blue and the white. That means that we're going southbound. And if you're going northbound, which there should be a siman on the other side of this pole, if you're going northbound, the white reaches up a little bit higher, points to the north. So then you know you're going northbound. But we are going southbound, and because we're also joining up with the Jerusalem Trail right now, that is the marker for the Jerusalem Trail. And they go along together for a little ways, and then they split up. And that's where I'm going to go to Jerusalem. And with my friends a little bit delayed because of their flight situation, I'll probably end up spending an extra day in Jerusalem, and with all my changes, that's actually probably okay. Especially the Jerusalem Trail, especially in this city, is apparently not very well marked. So I don't actually mind skipping that part. I'll show you some parts of Jerusalem, which will be great. But I don't really mind missing the section of that trail. So I'll find a way somehow in a couple days to get back to the Shvil and continue my route. Oh my goodness. I wish I could send you smells via YouTube, because it smells delicious, glorious here. Like licorice. Yes, I love licorice. You probably didn't want me to send you smells from further back where I was in all those cow pastures. But here, oh, I wish I could send it to you. I don't know if it's these yellow flowers here that are anise, or where it's coming from, but it smells absolutely wonderful. Now, that glorious smell, not the yellow flowers. So I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe these? No, don't know. But that was absolutely lovely. So we're in an area called Enkerem, and that behind me, that's the entrance, and that's the church or the monastery of St. John the Baptist, and tradition has it that he was born in this area and that this is where Elizabeth and Zacharias, whatever, lived, and that this is where Miriam came to visit Elizabeth when she got the news that she was going to give birth to Yeshua. So, and interestingly, the Jerusalem trail markers changed. That's what they look like here. Very nice, and much easier to spot than that little fish-like thing that I was following earlier and which disappeared. I spoke too soon. The trail markers are those blue and white trails that you see on that post behind me. After all, not those fancy blue and gold ones that I just saw. Oh, except that there are fancy blue and gold ones right there, too. So, anyways, it's a continuous adventure of trying to find the Shvil markers. But I am headed into Jerusalem now. I ran into some other hikers who are just doing a couple days in this area of Sataf in Jerusalem. And on the Shvil Israel though. And so they continued on the Shvil Israel. And I broke off onto the Shvil Yerushalayim, which is where I am right now, and headed towards Jerusalem. Oh, look at that. Sorry, just a second, I have to show you this. I was just down there somewhere, and I don't recall climbing that much, but I guess I must have somehow. And we're back to the blue and gold fish, which strangely enough actually makes me feel better. I just have more confidence that I really am on the Jerusalem trail. Always helps to see markers, I suppose. And as far as I can tell, they point this direction, so this is where I'm gonna go. This is a lovely little rest spot with a splendid view out over the valley. It's nice and shaded, and I'm just going to sit here for a bit since I don't actually have that far to go anymore, and once I get closer into the central part of the city, I know exactly where I am, because actually my friend used to live down the street from where this place is that I'm staying tonight, so so I'm quite comfortable headed into Jerusalem, fortunately for once. And just over there is the Hadassah Medical Center that we saw from down below. I was just gonna say I have a bad feeling about this, maybe I'm not on the Shvil, but then look what I saw. Horses. Those horse people told me that I was going in the wrong direction, and I have no way to figure out because there are no wooden steps like my directions tell me there are. So there's no shade to sit and figure this out, and they didn't know. All they knew was that direction, or actually that direction, and they couldn't help me any more than that. So I'm back exactly where I started in the shade spot, and just wasted huge amount of time and energy in the worst part of the day, and I need a washroom, and I'm not happy since I'm stuck sitting here and have no intention to go anywhere until it cools down a little bit. After making so many mistakes, I'm not making another one in the heat of the day. Any ideas? Any guesses how old this tree is? I got no idea. It looks old, but No idea. And I've been looking at my directions, and I'm looking at the markers, and I'm looking at the maps. Nothing makes sense. The markers clearly point the way this way for the Jerusalem Trail. Now, whether or not that's the right section of the Jerusalem Trail or not, or the right direction, I have no idea. But the Jerusalem Trail goes through here, and maybe I'm going the wrong direction, but that doesn't make any sense. The directions make no sense. They talk about going east and west, excuse me, and east again, and I think when they say west, I think they actually mean east, because when I look at the maps just have one straight line. Should have looked at the maps a long time ago, and I probably would have never made this mistake. Having said that, I never would have found this lovely little shady spot to sit and while away the afternoons. So and I never would have seen those horses. So I guess everything happens for a reason. But I gotta tell you, I'm not happy for wasting all that time and energy. I can't be the only one. I'm not that stupid, although sometimes I do feel very stupid, and right now I feel exceptionally, not extremely and exceptionally, but actually maybe exceptionally, sure, stupid. So anyways, I'm just gonna sit here, take a bit of a rest, and then I'm gonna go back the direction I came from in the first place to the place where there was only markers telling me to come this way, but the map tells me to go straight, so I'm going to try that because nothing else seems to be working. So I had a really nice chat with a Israeli man who came by and joined me in that shady spot for a little bit, and then the sun found me out and it was time to go. So I'm trying to climb up this ascent up to Jerusalem, and he was telling me that there used to be much more shade along here, much more trees and shade, but about 3 years ago a fire went through here and burnt a lot of the trees, so there's not much shade and it's pretty hot going up this hill. But I mean, it's not as bad now as it could have been a while earlier, so probably good that I made that mistake earlier and ended up just sitting under that shade for a little while. So here we go, we try again. So the fellow from the shady spot caught up with me and he helped me find where I was supposed to go, which was nice. And so here I am, I'm on Mount Herzl. This is kind of there's a museum for Theodor Herzl over there, and his grave is, I think, over there, and it's just a very significant place for Israel and for the Israeli people, and it's really nice and peaceful. There's a big garden up here, and really nice to just sit up here for a little bit and rest before I continue on to get up to where I'm supposed to meet my friends, who are stuck in Boston, actually. But I'll see them on Monday, I guess. So up there, that's Mount Herzl, where we just came from. And behind me, that's where I'm headed. That is Jerusalem. So I'm headed down Herzl Street, which is one of the main big thoroughfares in Jerusalem, and to some of the main monuments of the city and the state of Israel. So I am supposed to be on the Shvil Yerushalayim, on the Jerusalem Trail. I believe I am, according to my directions, but it's so hard when you can't trust your directions. It makes it very hard. This behind me is a national memorial for Israel's fallen, Well, my feet hurt and I'm tired and I've walked a long ways, so I decided to go rogue and went off trail because the trail just sort of goes by a whole bunch of places that are important sights to see, but I can see them later. I'll probably show them to my friends and can show them to you at the same time. And I saw that the trail actually went reasonably close to where I was actually trying to get to, so I decided to go rogue. But just showing you that there is the Supreme Court of Israel right behind me. Well, I made it to the Airbnb that my friends are supposed to be coming to, and now I'm just waiting for some hot water for a shower, and then I'm gonna just kind of get organized, relax, and go to bed early. I really don't like the road walking, like the paved road walking in the cities. I was doing pretty well on the trail today until I got to the city in Jerusalem, and then I very quickly just went downhill from there. So paved road walking, not good. But on the rest of the Shvil, it's not that super. I mean, it's not great. Okay, I refuse to say I'm old, but I'm not young anymore. So obviously I can feel it, but I can do much better on the actual Shvil than on paved roads. I did, with all the mistakes I made in getting lost and the really unhelpful directions for the Jerusalem Trail, which added, basically because I got lost until those horse people told me the right way to go, probably added another 2 kilometers to what I did today. So, and then I cut off a bit at the end when I went rogue. So I probably still did about 12 or 13 kilometers today, which, considering my track record at this point, is actually not bad. But I feel like I did a whole lot more, mostly I think because of that paved road walking at the end. Anyways, so I am going to relax, give my feet some TLC, take a shower, and go to bed. So, for now, Laila Tov.